Hi, everyone. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for letting us come into your house and into your life. And I hope that you will find the time we spent together very, very valuable and helpful to you. And if you don't, tell my wife. All right.
Hi, everyone. It's really wonderful to be with you again this evening. And thank you, everyone that's here, everyone that listens in later on. You're so appreciated, and we love you dearly. Okay, Carl.
Tonight, we're going to talk about the Aquarian Age, or the Age of Aquarius, as the song goes. And if you like a quiet, peaceful, calm life, you're in the wrong age. I'm sorry, and it's considered by some to be the beginning of the Aquarius Age, when, according to my calculations, we're actually about halfway into it, and we're a little less than halfway out of the Piscean Age. It takes about 150 years to make the transition from one age to another, and we began moving into the Aquarian energy in the middle of the 1930s. 2012 is marked as the halfway point, which means we will not be completely in the Aquarian energy and out of the Piscean energy until mid 2085. Okay, so we're in a mixture of it right now with the two energies here, almost you could say competing with each other for your attention and for your accepting their vibrational frequency. And these frequencies are quite different. The Piscean age is very, very much a third dimensional age. And the third dimension is based on fear, on limitation, and on separation. And I think if you look into what you've experienced, you can see that those are three predominant forces or energies or levels of consciousness that have been present. Now, in the Aquarian age, that's a fifth dimensional age, and that is based on love. It's based on opportunity. It's based on becoming at one with each other, on cooperation. Third dimension is competition. The fifth dimension is cooperation. And the fourth dimension that we are spending most of our time in now is the dimension of, well, in one word, you can call it chaos. It's a short, condensed period of time in which we individually and collectively are making the transition from living lives of fear, limitation, and separation to living lives of love, abundance, and oneness. Okay? And if you look closely at yourself, I think you'll find you can feel these two forces acting within you. There's still in many the fear of not having enough, for example, or the fear of failure, or the fear of not being good enough, the fear of being rejected, of being judged, and so on. And that's all third dimensional stuff that we're getting rid of, or supposed to be getting rid of, as we go through the fourth dimension. And when we can reach the point where we can look in the mirror and look deeply in our eyes, and with all truth and honesty, and say, I love you, I respect you, I honor you, I am so glad that you and I, that you are what you are what you have become. And when you can trust your own judgment, and not only the judgment about things in the world, but the judgment about what you may be being taught in your dreams, or in your out of body experiences, or in the thoughts that just pop into your mind. If you can have the discernment to recognize that a lot of this is coming from higher aspects of yourself, or it's coming from members of your spirit family, which is made up of the angels and guides and teachers that work with you 24/7, and many have been with you for many lifetimes. So to be able to recognize them and to communicate with them and to trust that what they want is for your highest good. And though it may not at that moment make logical sense to you, to trust that if it's coming from a high level, if it's coming with love, if it's coming with joy, if it's coming with peace, know that it's coming from a high level and do it. Do it, become it. All right? Go through the experience. And it sounds easy, but the fourth dimension is probably one of the hardest dimensions that we will ever go through in our life. And my experience with the people that I've worked with, and I've worked with about 3,000 individuals over the years. And I found that as time has gone on, they're spending more and more time in the fourth and fifth dimensions and less time in the third dimension. The percentages were in the third dimension about 35% of their time, and in the fifth dimension, only less than 10%. And now, my golly, in the fifth dimension, instead of less than 10%, it's between 35 and 42% for the light workers. And they're in the third dimension anywhere from 12 to maybe 19%. But in both cases, about 50% of the time, they're in the fourth dimension, which means about half of their awake time, they're working on making that transition from being a third dimensional person to being a fifth dimensional person. And is it worth it? Absolutely. Because when you reach the high end of the fifth dimension, you will become what Jesus said you could become when he said, "You are God, and everything that you see me do, you can do, and even greater than this can you do." So that's what we're headed for. And I can't think of a more worthy purpose for my life, and I would like to think for your life, than to become a being living and expressing in Christed consciousness. And to me, that is the final lesson that we have to learn here on planet Earth, to become that Christed person, which means that we need to get rid of everything that's negative, everything that's holding us back, everything that's limiting us. We need to get rid of all judgment of others and ourselves. We need to open and keep open our chakras in our physical, mental, emotional bodies. And the ultimate is when we become one with our soul. Our soul is the divine consciousness that was built within each one of us. And in the story of creation in the Bible, you may recall, it says, "And God created humankind in his own image and likeness." And it's so important, he repeated himself. The only place in the Bible that I'm aware of, he said, in his image and likeness, he created them. And the image and likeness isn't that we look like God, or that God is the body of an old man with a long beard and white hair. No, it means that God has created, has instilled within us a level of his consciousness. And we call it our soul. And when Jesus said, "My Father and I are one," that's exactly what he meant. He had become one with his soul. And then he said, "I'm not doing the work. It's the Father through me that's doing the work." And that's exactly what we're here to learn to do. And we will do that when we become one with our soul, with our divine essence. Then we too can say, "My Father and I are one." Now, I used to be a Lutheran minister, and if I said that in the Lutheran church, I would have been probably fired on the spot. Heresy, heresy. But most religions are third dimensional religions. They're based on the fear on the limitation, on the separation. And as we move into the fifth dimension, our religions are going to change, or they're going to just wither away and cease to exist. And fifth dimension beliefs are going to be based on we're at one with God, and we're the vehicles through which the spirit world experiences and expresses. We have a physical body, and to fully experience and express in a physical world, you need a body made out of the elements of that world. And our physical bodies are made out of the gases, the liquids, and the minerals of the physical world. And without the physical body, our spirit family, which means our angels, our guides, our teachers, they're limited in what they can do. But if we're open to listen to them, to hear them, and then to have the trust and the courage to follow what they're guiding us to do, then they are expressing and experiencing through us. And miracles will happen. Miracles will happen to you and through you. So that's what the Aquarian Age is all about. It's an inner journey. It's going within and identifying those things about you that are still third dimensional, that limit you, that judge you, that tell you what you cannot do. And it's getting rid of that and getting filling yourself with the empowerment by believing what it is you are capable of, and working one with your spirit family, with your soul, going out and doing it. So it's living love, it's living trust, it's creating peace in your life and in your environment. It's empowering other people. And as you do this, the net result is you're raising your own level of consciousness. You're going from a limited human consciousness to an empowering, wise, divine consciousness, because you are moving into the consciousness of your divine soul. You're becoming one with it. You're allowing it to, well, if you will, to take charge, to guide, to do its thing through your physical body, because you are the physical expression of your soul. So that's what the big picture of what the Aquarian Age is about, and in order to move fully into it, that's the direction that we need to be headed in our life. Ortrun, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, okay, first and foremost, did you mention that the age of Aquarius started in the 30s?
We began, okay, there's an overlap of 150 years when we change ages. And we began to go into the very outskirts of the Aquarian energy in the mid-1930s, yes.
Okay. And when did the ascension process start?
Well, I would say that probably began with that first little bit of Aquarian energy. This is my understanding of, and my experience also of what happened. If you go back in history, the people that are in the history books were usually a cut above the general population. Michelangelos and the Thomas Jeffersons and the Abraham Lincolns and even somebody like Genghis Khan and some of the historical leaders. They were the innovators. They were the creators. They were the ones that were pushing society and human consciousness ahead. And they comprised only about 1% of the Earth human population. Now, in the mid-1930s, that began to increase. And a number of, I'm going to say, spiritual leaders came into existence or were born starting in the mid-1930s. And I like to think I was one of those. My birth date is 1936. And John Davis's birthday, also 1936. And there are other, like Bill, the Spiritualist Church.
What, Lundstrom?
Bill Lundstrom. I don't think he was born quite that early, but he was born in, I think, the late 1930s. Ortrun was born in the mid 1940s. And anyway, the percentage of people carrying that energy has gone from 1% pre-1930s until today. It's somewhere between 65 and 100%. And these people were born with a little bit different DNA. They have one or two additional active codons in their DNA, and they have higher IQs, and they have different set of abilities. And anyway, because we have so many of them on the planet now, things are moving ahead at an unprecedented rate of speed. And that's because we have all of these evolved